Hello guys, RevitWiz here. Today I'm going to show you how to create a column with a column head that works with parameters in your project so that you can go and edit these specific columns to your sizes and preferred column head sizes. So please stay tuned. So let's just start by opening up a new model. So we can just say new, you should choose the structural template, and we open the project. Now, there are a few ways that you can actually do this. You can go here to File and you can say New Family, and then you can start the concrete column head family from there, or you can do a column within this project and just edit that family. So I find it a lot easier to do it in that way, so I'm going to show you that method that I use. So I'm going to go structure, column, then there's preloaded columns here. I'm just going to use the 300 by 450. Then I'm going to say height and just unconnect it, and I just place one column there. Then we can just go to the 3D view just to see it's just a normal column. So now we can click on this column and say edit family, and now we are inside this family, which we can then create our own column with a column head. So I'm just going to say, before we do anything, file and save as this. So the reason for that is when we load it into our project again, we actually have a new name, so we don't overwrite the existing concrete rectangular column. So maybe we can just call this column with head, whatever you want to call it. You can name it whatever you'd like. I'll just call it that and just say save. Okay, so there we go. Now we can go here to view and then to the floor plan, so we can just see there's already parameters set up for the column itself, a B and a H, which is obviously the width and the length, or height and breadth of the column. So what we are going to do now is we're just going to go here to family types, and the screen will pop up here, and you'll see there's different size columns in here. So for this exercise, I'm just going to delete the other two columns and just focus on this one and set up a column head for this, and this column head will then obviously work for any other size column that we set up. So I'm just going to say okay. Then what we can do is we can open up our front view. Here we can see this is the column height. So if you would move this column height here, you'll see the column moves with it. So I'm just going to undo that. So what we want to do is we want to unlink or unconstrain this top here from the specific level so that we don't rely on this level. Okay, so if you try and pull it down, it won't work. So just go back to your 3D, you click on it and you say edit extrusion. It's going to give you the two-dimensional outer lines of this column, and I'm just going to make that 2 meters and say finish, and then go back to my front view. And it hasn't changed anything, but what it did is it unconstrained, or give us the ability to remove the constraint. And you just click remove, and there you go. So now we can do our column head in this area here, and then from that we can then fix our column head to this reference level here at the top. So let's say I know my depth is going to be 300 for the column head for now. So what I'll do is I'll say RP on my keyboard for reference plane, and I'm just going to pull in a reference plane here for the bottom of my column head, and I'll make that 300 mils. So this here would be the soffit of your slab. Okay, so what I'll then do is take this column, I'll put it up, and I'll just lock it here so that when I move this, you can see it moves with the column. Okay, so now that that is locked, we can then go to our lower reference level, and now we're going to do an extrusion for the column head. So we're going to go to create here, we're going to use the blend. So the blend is you're going to work with a bottom size and a top size. So we're going to say blend. Now you'll see, or you'll notice that here it says edit top. So currently we are working in the bottom part of this specific blend. Okay, so what we will do is for the bottom, I want the column head to actually be the same size as the column. So I'll just click on the rectangle and I'll just make the rectangle the same size as the actual column. Then what we will do is go to edit top, and then we will say we want to offset this by 500 millimeters. So what I'll do then is choose rectangle again, and you'll see when I draw this, it actually offsets by 500 mils to each side. It's quite big, so let's just have a look. That is 500. We can always make it a bit smaller. So now that we've done that, we can just say finish. Okay, so it doesn't look like much now, but let's go to our front view. So you'll see it ended up sitting here at the bottom, which we don't want. We want it here at the top. So what I'll do is I'll press MV on my keyboard to move it. Well, it doesn't move. So what we'll do is we'll just stretch this to the top and I'll lock it, and I'll stretch this one to that and I'll lock it. So you'll see once I pull this down, it goes with the column, and that is what we want. But now I want to set up parameters for the top of the column head so that you can change this in your project which you want to. Okay, so what we will do now is we'll go actually to your ceiling plan and you'll go to the lower reference level so you can see this column head that we've created. So now what we will do is I'm just going to pull these reference planes out so that they are a little bit more visible, and then I'll do reference plane again, RP on my keyboard, and I'll put a line exactly on this line and on that line, and then I'll do the same for this side and that side. Now what I'll do is I'll press AL on my keyboard for a line, and then I'll click on this edge and I'll click on the reference plane so that they lock, and then I'll do this for each one of them. The reason for that is so that my reference plane and my actual column head is locked. So if I had to move this reference plane, just try it. If you move it, it moves with it. So I'm just going to undo it so that we know that this is all locked now. Okay, now I'm going to put in dimensions. I'm going to press DI on my keyboard. I'm going to dimension this side and that side, and I'm going to say equals and equals. That's just always to keep both of the sides equal spacing to the column center line. Then I'll put in another dimension for the overall width and length of the column head. And now what I'll do is I'll click on this one and I'll say here create parameter, and then the parameter name, we're going to call this, let's just double check it. I'm just going to press escape. I want to call it the same. I want to call it the head B so that I know it's the same parameter, head B, so I don't get confused when I actually edit this in my project. So head B, there we go, and I'll call that one head H, like that. So now we can test this. Let's say I want to make it 1.5, there it adjusts to 1.5, and I also want to make this 1.5, and there it adjusts. Okay, so now that we've created that, we can just go back to our front view. Now we want to make sure that this angle here from here to there is always 45 degrees. So I know that this depth here is 300. So that means from the column edge to the top of your column head edge, this 600 needs to change to 300. And then from there we can set up formulas to go and adjust this so that every time your column changes in size, that this 45 will always remain the same, even if the column head depth changes. Okay, so let's go to our ceiling plan. So I know the column B is 300, so that means 300 plus 300 plus 300 would be the 900 to get 45. So there you go. Okay, so that's the 45. So then if we go to the left side, just want to show you, let's just do the angle here. That's 29. So if we go back to our lower level ceiling plan, we know that the column in the other direction is 450 mils. You can just go and double check it. 450 mils. Go back to our ceiling plan. So that means if we plus 450 plus 300 plus 300, you get 1050. So I need to change that to 1050. And that should be 45 as well. Let's go to our left. And there you go. That's 45. So the reason, once again, just so that you understand, the reason I plus the 300 plus 300 plus 300 is to get the total width of 900 for your column head in this specific direction, to ensure that that is 45 degrees. And I just did the same for the column uh, height. So that was the 450 plus the 300 plus the 300. So just to show you here, and that's how you get the 1050. Okay, now we can go back to the front view. We can now give these dimensions some parameters. So what I'll do is I'll just dimension this column edge to that top of the column head, and we can give these ones some parameters. So we'll call this our head edge. You can call it whatever, just so that you remember it's that specific edge from the column to the top of the column head. Just change this one also to head edge. This one we're going to call head depth, because that's the depth. And then I'm just going to delete that, because that was for the illustration purposes earlier. Then I'm going to do the same on the left. So I'll dimension this side and that side. Then I'll make both of them also head edge. I don't have to do the depth again, because let me just show you, if I do it again, it might give me an error, because it's going to say it's over constrained. Yes, it's going to be over constrained. So because we've already done it in our front view, it is there. So now what I want to show you, if I change this to 500, that still changes this specific angle. Same with that one. Okay, so we want to go and edit this so that these two respect each other, and also this full dimension, the 900 here, respects the head edge distances. So we're going to do some formulas here. So just try and keep your head with me here. So what we'll do is we want to do the head edge. Okay, so, or sorry, not the head edge, rather the head B. So what we will do is we will say bracket, and then we will say head edge. It must be exactly in capital letters and smaller letters as per this description here, otherwise it won't work. So we're going to say the head edge times 2, because there are two edges like that, and then plus our B, and say apply, and that's going to be the 900. So now it grays out, because this dimension now is going to be relying on a formula that is going to be partly or well, consisting of the head edge and the B. So if you change one of those two, or both of them, this formula will update this head B. So we'll do the same for the head H, the 1050, but instead of having the B there, we're just going to have the H. So what I'll do is I'll copy this one, Control C on your keyboard, Control V, and then I'll just change the B to the H, because the H is the column dimension in the other direction, and I'll say apply, and you can see it's also grayed out. Okay, now I'm going to say, well, before I actually do that, what I want to do is I want to make sure that the head depth and the head edge also speaks to one another. So I'm going to copy the head edge here, and I'll say I want it equal to the head depth, and I'll say apply. Notice it doesn't grade out. So what it means is if I change the head edge, the head depth will also change, because the head depth is equals to the head edge. Might be a bit confusing. You can slow down the video or just recheck it again, but I'll show you now when we update the parameters how it changes the column heads. Okay, and we say apply and okay. So now if I go and I change the head edge here to 400, you can see it updates both sides and also the depth, which is exactly what we want to achieve, and it keeps it at 45 degrees. So if I go to the left view, it should have done the same. That's updated, and that side has updated. 45 it remains, and that should be the 400. There we go. So now if you would update the column, we can now double check that, but let's just quickly go to the 3D. So this is how it looks. So let's just go family types, and if I edit it here, you'll see how it updates here. So let's say we change the depth to 250, and you can see automatically it's changed the head B to 800 and the head H to 950. And I say apply, and there you can see it still remains 45 degrees, but it just changes our depth and our head depth and our head edge. So now we have this specific column set up. Let's just go back to family types. Apologies for that. So there we have the 300 by 450. So let's say we say new type, and we call this, let's make it a square. Let's say it's a 500 by 500 millimeter column. Okay. Now we want to change the B to 500. See, automatically the head B updates to a meter. We want to change the H to 500. That also updates to a meter. And maybe we want the head depth now to be, let's say, 350. And that also updates. And once again, the head B and the head H also updates to accommodate the 45 degrees. And I say apply and okay. So there you can see, now we've updated this column. Let's just go and have a look. Go to our low level. We have a 500 by 500 column. If you go to the front view, your edge is 350 and your depth is 350 and still at 45. Okay, so now everything is set up. Just before we load this into our project, we want to make sure the materials are the same. So I can see the concrete column is the concrete cast in place gray, and this one doesn't, it just says by category. So I'm going to click here, associate family parameter, click on the structural material and say okay. There we have our structural material. It all looks the same now. So what I'll do now is I'll load it into the project. I want to save now, and I'll just place it. I can then from here copy this over like that and just go to the 3D so you can see the difference between the columns. So I'm just going to delete this, call it older column. I will make this more realistic so it looks pretty. Just going to hide that levels, so highlight EH on your keyboard to hide it. So now what I'll do is I'll just quickly draw in a little slab here to show you how this column then works. So I'm just going to highlight this, make sure my base level is from level 1 to level 2, and I make that 0. Okay, so then we'll go to our level 2. Then from here I'm going to go to structure, floor, structural, and I'm just going to draw in a random size floor here, something like that, and finish. Then if you go to your 3D, you'll see this is how it looks, and you're wondering, okay, why is this column not working or showing our column head? The reason for that is you need to attach this column to this slab. So you can highlight both columns, say attach top slash base. Make sure top is ticked and leave all the other settings the same. And you click on the slab. Oh, sorry, I must click the slab. Just do it again. Click on the slab and there you go. Now your columns work perfectly as per our settings that we've set up. So let's just go to our level 2 again. You can go and copy this over like that. Let's just put that one in the middle of the slab. Come now, let's just delete it and do it again. Copy to the middle. Then I'm just gonna randomly copy this over. Then I'll show you, you can edit this specific column head. So if you go to 3D, there you go, all of them are there. So let's say I want to change that column to 500 by 500 and it changes that column. But let's say I actually want to change this column to something like 250 by 250. So you can do it within your project. You go edit type, just like duplicate, say 250 by 250 millimeter. Then I know my B should be 250 and my H should be 250. Once again, your head depth and head edge, you can change it to whatever you'd like. Just gonna make it 300. Oh well, let's try to make it 150. So okay, you can see that it changes to a 250 by 250 column. And as easy as that, you can have a column with a column head that is working with parameters inside of your project. So once again, guys, thank you for watching this tutorial and I do appreciate all your support. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers, guys.